Okay, this is part 3 of the 6 scenes of Romeo and Juliet. This is Act 2, Scene 4, where the nurse is talking to Romeo, but she's talking about Juliet. This is the bit where he's arranged with Friar Lawrence to marry Juliet. He sent a message and the nurse has come. Sorry, my arm's wobbling a bit. The nurse has come to get the sort of instructions, if you like, for what Romeo would like her to do and the arrangements for meeting Juliet to get married. If you can hear a clicking noise, that's my dog walking around. And now he's laid down. So, basically, you don't have to say much about this scene. It's really just how much she cares for Juliet. So I've highlighted the key points. She's concerned that Romeo's going to treat Juliet badly. If you should lead her into a fool's paradise, as they say, it were a very gross kind of behaviour. She's worried that he's going to behave badly and maybe, sleep with her and then not marry her, or marry her and then treat her badly afterwards. She's concerned that Juliet is so young. She says the gentlewoman is young, because remember, she's only 14. So she's acting as a concerned parent here about how young Juliet is. And then she goes on to say, if you should deal double with her, in other words, if you should mess her about, truly it were an ill thing and very weak dealing. So she's showing real parental concern here, much more than Juliet's mother shows to her. Juliet's mother is very distant, whereas the nurse shows a lot of concern here. When Romeo starts talking about the fact that he wants to marry her, the nurse jumps in before he's even finished and says, Lord, Lord, she will be a joyful woman. She's so excited and so happy for Juliet, that Juliet has found a nice man to marry and that Juliet's going to go on and have a happy life, so she thinks. So she's really, really excited and proud, just like any parent would be. And then she also says further down, it is a gentlemanlike offer. So she feels that she can trust Romeo and that he's going to do the right thing. So she's really happy with him and his behaviour. Let me just turn the sheet the other way. Sorry, that's my letter rack behind there, propping up my sheet. Okay. Anyway, when Romeo sort of promises that he's going to go through with it and marry Juliet, God in heaven bless thee. So she thinks he's wonderful now because he's going to marry Juliet. Hark you, sir. In other words, listen to this now. What sayest thou, my dear nurse? And then she talks about when Juliet was a little girl. Now, this is really important because the nurse brought Juliet up, not Juliet's mother. And the nurse even breastfed Juliet. There is a reference to that in the play. My mistress is the sweetest lady, Lord, Lord, when 'twas a little prating thing, when she was a little chattering child, a little child sort of burbling in the cradle. So she's known Juliet all her life, and she says she is the sweetest, loveliest girl ever. Now this shows how well the nurse knows her. It knows that it shows that she brought her up instead of Juliet's mother. It was a common thing to do. But it just shows the close parent-child relationship between them. She does warn Romeo as well, so she's almost acting like a parent to Romeo here. She warns Romeo about Paris. There is a nobleman in town, one Paris, that would fain lay knife aboard. That's rather a rude reference to what Paris would like to do to Juliet, but we won't go into that. So she does warn him, and she says, I anger her sometimes, and I tell her that Paris is the properer man. She likes to tease Juliet and to tell her that she really should marry Paris. So there's that close teasing relationship. I'll warrant you when I say she looks as pale as any clout in the versal world. She knows that she's upset Juliet when she teases her about Paris. And then Romeo says, commend me to thy lady, I 1,000 times. It shows how excited the nurse is. She's going to go home and she's going to gabble and gabble and gabble and tell Juliet everything about what happened today with Romeo and get really, really overexcited. And she's going to say, he loves you 1,000 times. And so she's really, really proud and excited for Juliet, who's the child that she brought up. So to the nurse, Juliet is like her own child. She couldn't be prouder of the fact that she's getting married. So that's the end of that scene. You don't have to say a lot about that scene. And the next video is going to be the 4th part of 6.